Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the show. Going to keep the content rolling here for you guys. Make sure you guys smash a thumbs up here today and comment below because I'm going to lay out the top 5 players you should draft for Fantasy Football 2024 as of January. Yes, it's early, but I'm going to be breaking it down for you. We're going to have an open discussion here on fantasy football players and early draft picks and who to draft. Now, I just did a mock draft review by the Concheapsis, who are literally copying and pasting last year's top finishers, having Christian McCaffrey at 1, having, I think it was CeeDee Lamb at 2 or 3, a direct copy and paste. But what we understand here, guys, with a Lion mentality is that things don't always work out the same way they did the year prior. And that's why we're thinking and projecting forward and thinking ahead. Now, again, it's very early. As I give you these top 5, things may significantly change. There may be a rookie running back coming in that could absolutely catch my attention and land in a perfect prime position. So this is very early, but I want to lay it out and have that open discussion as we are here in the off season, okay? So top 5 picks for Fantasy Football 2024. I cannot believe 2023 passed so fast. We're heading towards the NFL Super Bowl. But again, we're going to keep the content rolling. So it's very important, guys. Smash that thumbs up. Lion mentality. Smash thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel below. Turn on that bell. It's a little bit of a homework, guys. It takes 2 seconds. So bell, thumbs up, subscribe, and comment below. Let me know what you guys think of the top 5. Who would you draft first overall or in the first 5 picks? Love to get your feedback, okay? So I will tell you that I do love the running back position before anything else. Now you can say, well, Joe, running backs, they're not that good. You know, they broke down last year. Nobody really did well other than CMC, and I understand that, but it was a down year for running backs, understandably so. But that shows how scarce that position is and how important it is that you need those volume getters. So as I go through these names, understand that these guys are in a prime position to succeed, and we're going to talk about it. Now, I'm here having a pre-workout. Really good stuff because I'm going to get a workout in after the podcast. So I'm just having a sip of my pre-workout there. So, and the energy's high usually when I have my drink. So let's go through this. The first question is, let's go 5 down to 1. But understand, first overall, you got to look at a running back. It is a scarce position you still got to consider. And I'm telling you right now, I did a video. Go back and check it out. Go back a couple videos. 5 reasons why I'm not drafting Christian McCaffrey. So he's not in this top 5 list. I don't need to go into it again, but he's 100% regressing or getting hurt. So Christian McCaffrey is not on this list. Now you're saying, Joe, you're crazy. Go back and watch that video. Okay? Let's go from 5 down to 1. And number 5 here, I got 2 wide receivers at 3 and 4. That being said, I would still probably go running back. The problem is the running backs in round 1 are going to be expensive. Who are you looking at? You're looking at Kyren Williams, who has his share of question marks. And there's a couple other guys that have question marks I just don't trust. So I've got 2 receivers here if I'm going 3 and 4, but I probably won't draft them like that because I think that the guys I have at 1, 2, and 3, the first 3 guys are going to fall to the 5th position. But these guys at wide receiver are the 2 that I like, okay? So coming to number 5, this is an either or, Garrett Wilson or A.J. Brown. I think Garrett Wilson has an amazing season if Aaron Rodgers comes back. And anybody but the quarterbacks they had this year, Zach Wilson, whoever it was throwing the ball, anyone but those guys, and Garrett Wilson has a great season. So he's a top 5 guy. I potentially have him as a number 1 receiver. Now, I'm saying, with that being said, you don't have to draft him, as your first receiver. You're going to get him for value. Let them copy and paste. Let them take CeeDee Lamb, because I think Garrett Wilson has a potential higher ceiling this year than CeeDee Lamb, who had an astronomical year, and he's never been a top 3 pick. Now, all of a sudden, he is. And this is what bothers me as well. It's like, where are the Concheapsis now on Austin Eckler, Cooper Kupp, Tony Pollard? These are all guys I told you to fade last year. Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins. Where are all these guys, these top early round pick guys? They're not there because they're copying and pasting. And what happens last year won't happen again this year. So understand that. So at 5, I got A.J. Brown or Garrett Wilson. I think they're going to be great first round picks. Again, I think Garrett Wilson will be a value. Get him in the 2nd or 3rd round, wherever he falls. But as of right now, A.J. Brown should be a first round pick. I think he's safe and solid, okay? There's going to be other options as well at wide receiver where you can get value, and you don't have to pay for A.J. Brown, but I got him at 5. Coming at number 4, I got Jamar Chase. Sky's the limit. He finished, 11th, I think, in PPR. He only gets better. His quarterback was injured this year, didn't really get into a full groove. I think Jamar Chase has got the highest ceiling. I think the talent is still there. T. Higgins was falling off. We're going to have to see what happens with him. Does he come back? What's going on? But T. Higgins fell off, and that was what I was telling you. Don't draft T. Higgins at the end of round 2. This is something I kept preaching, right? Sip a drink. I have to take a sip of that drink here. I got to keep the pre-workout flowing as I ramp up to my workout. So I told you, avoid T. Higgins, avoid Waddle. These guys are wide receiver 2s on their team. Yet everybody, the Sheepses were telling you, the consensus, the Sheepses, all the mainstream sheep were telling you to draft T. Higgins round 2 last year. So Jamar Chase, he only steps up. We found out Higgins is not the real deal. He gets banged up a lot, Higgins does. So I got Chase at number 4. But again, I'm going running back with my first round pick. And there's a ton of great options, okay? Number 3 here, I got Jahmyr Gibbs. Love Jahmyr Gibbs. Now, again, I've talked about this, okay? Jahmyr Gibbs had 10 touchdowns on the ground. I think he had 182 some odd attempts. Listen, 200 plus attempts went to Montgomery. That is BS. This is a guy that should have got all the volume, but he didn't. Montgomery should be coming back, but I still like Gibbs. He only gets more work this year. He got slowly integrated, but Montgomery's going to be there. That's the only thing. It's a thorn in the Achilles on my side because Gibbs would easily be the first overall pick if Montgomery wasn't there. So we're going to have to see what happens in the offseason. We're going to have to see what the coaching report says. Is Gibbs going to do better this year? Yes. How is he going to be looking in training camp? So there's a lot of things I'll be looking at prior to the season as we get closer, like, July, August, September, right before the season starts. How much, are the beat writers talking about Gibbs being integrated more? What's the volume share looking at? Because I don't like Montgomery. He's slow. He's sluggish. This is something we're going to have to monitor, especially with the playoffs here. As the playoffs come, something to monitor, right? Like when you're watching a Detroit game, are they using Gibbs more? Let's take a look at that volume distribution because that's really going to be a telling tale because it's crunch time. How much Gibbs are they using? If we notice that they're using Gibbs a lot more in the playoffs, we're going to watch that this weekend, then we know that's an indicator for next year. So something to watch, guys, okay? Next thing is Bijan. He finished 9th last year. Bijan only takes a step up. Arthur Smith is fired now. This is great news. No way but up. We know that Algier is not that good, and he was force-fed just because, the Arthur Smith was, I don't want to curse on here, but not a good person. So it's going to be the Bijan show. And he ran with it. He had a 72-yard run, just before playoffs here. Well, they didn't make the playoffs, but the last week of fantasy, week 18, if you guys played that far, or 17 or whatever it was. But he was coming alive at the end of the season. That is going to continue. He was a first-round pick, 8th overall, something like that. Bijan is going to be the workhorse guy. He's going to outdo CMC next year. I guarantee that CMC will fall. He will get hurt. He will decline. So, again, the playoffs are going to be a telling tale when we're watching CMC to see he's going to be used a lot, barring any type of injury, but we're going to monitor how well the 49ers do. If 49ers win the Super Bowl, they're definitely declining next year. We saw that with Cooper Kupp after the Rams won the Super Bowl. So I think the team takes a dip next year, or are they still rising? That's something I'm going to feel out in the playoffs. So another situation to watch, but when we're talking CMC, but when we're looking at Bijan, he's going to have a ton of volume, a ton of work. He is the man. He is the alpha. He's going to eat, and there's going to be a new coach that's actually going to let him eat, okay? So only 4 touchdowns near the goal line. That's definitely going to go up from next year. Tons of ceiling to be had. Gibbs, like I said, I love Bijan, love them. We're going to have to feel it out, see who I like more prior to the season. Again, Montgomery factor, a big pest when it comes to Gibbs. And number 1, this guy finished number 2 in PPR points, and he had a terrible team, man. Terrible team. Breece Hall, Breece the Beast. He was slow to get started. He was coming off that injury. They didn't integrate him. He didn't get going until week 3, 4. So he missed the first 3 weeks. He didn't miss him, but he wasn't really fully active. So Breece Hall, guys, literally the sky is the limit. As I take another sip here. More pre-workout. Breece is in a prime position to absolutely tear it up this year. Love the talent, love the upside. The offense only gets better. He had just under 1,000 yards on the ground. He's the beast, man. He's amazing. He's got that explosive ability. And that's what I like when I'm looking at early round running backs. That I'm looking for volume, I'm looking for youth, I'm looking for talent, and I'm looking for explosiveness. And the 3 guys I got here, if I'm in the first top 5 picks, either Breece, Bijan, or Gibbs, they have all that. They just need the volume. Now, again, the hindrance of Bijan this past year with Arthur Smith and the hindrance of Jahmyr Gibbs with Montgomery, Again, they've proven that they're the guys. They were first-round picks for a reason. They're going to get the work. The talent, the youth is there. They only get better as they've learned the offense, and now they're integrated with the team. Now, mind you, there's going to be players, rookies that are going to come in that may get my attention at the running back position. But if you're picking between with the top 5 picks, make sure it is a running back. And the reason I chose A.J. Brown and Ja'Marr Chase is because there isn't really another running back that's jumping out at me. Let me just pull up the running backs here. Like ATN doesn't appeal to me. Rachaad White, I'm not really sold on him. I don't think Monster's definitely not going to repeat the numbers he had last year. Joe Mixon's washed up. Derrick Henry could have another good year, but these are some other guys that finished top 10. None of them are really appealing me with the first top 5 picks. That's why I put wide receiver there. And again, Christian McCaffrey is going to decline. Go watch that video. So I want to talk first 5 picks, but I want you to ensure that you're going to get a running back there. And again, it's not going to be Breece, Bygie, and Gibbs because other people are going to go for like a Christian McCaffrey. They're going to go for a CeeDee Lamb within the first top 5 picks. Let them take them because it's not going to be like last year. Now, we were saying, Joe, these guys still finished in the top. Joe Breece did, all these guys. Yeah, they did, but they didn't cap their ceiling. They're not 29, 28 years old like Christian McCaffrey. They're not coming off 2 pinnacle seasons. So there's so many other variables you got to look at other than, they finished in the top 10. They're not going to finish in the top 10 if that's my theory, right? Why, if Christian McCaffrey is going to duplicate, why are these guys? Because again, these guys are on an upwards trend while Christian McCaffrey's on a downward trend. So you got to be able to analyze and see what's rising, what's falling. A perfect example of that was Austin Eckler. Coming off this amazing pinnacle year, he was never a great running back, and he had a new offensive coordinator. Things entirely changed, and I looked at the landscape and said, 100% Eckler's going down. Pollard, another guy. You got to see the trends. This guy was a 4th, 5th round pick drafted by the Cowboys 5 years ago. Never wowed us. He was always a backup to Zeke Elliott. Why would I invest a 1st round pick on a guy that was a backup who's never taken that role? So it's about seeing things, projecting forward, and skating to where the puck is going to be, not to where the puck is. Does that make sense? Project forward, okay? So when we're talking fantasy football draft strategy, you got to think like that. That's when 16 rounds is going to change the game, right? I'm also going to be offering private consulting this year, direct access. So that's going to be coming out this year as well. So it's going to be a lot of stuff to help you guys get the edge and to completely be light years ahead of the competition. But in this video, again, just wanted to have an open discussion, have some fun here with the top 5 picks here. If you are going top 5, make sure it's a running back and the first 3 guys that I mentioned, all right? Subscribe, thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Keep the content rolling. Subscribe. Lion mentality. I'm out.